It's time for the Maximum PC No BS podcast, episode 231 for the week of August 26th, 2014. On today's show, we have a couple guests from both AMD and Origin PC, which, as you might remember, had some public beef not too long ago.
With AMD.
With each other. So we'll be talking about that and much more. And here we go. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Jimmy Thang, and joining me are Associate Editor Tom McNamara.
Hello, everyone.
And our esteemed guests include AMD's VP of Global Channel Sales, Roy Taylor.
Hello.
Oh, sorry. Pointing the wrong way there.
They mix us up all the time.
I was looking at AMD's Director of Public Relations, Chris Hook.
Glad to be here.
And then finally, we have Origin PC's co-founder and CEO, Kevin, probably going to butcher this, Wasielewski?
Perfect.
No.
Wasielewski. Nobody gets it right.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. No problem. So what brings you guys here today? I noticed you guys brought a video card.
So yeah, I like to carry this around with me. Actually, this is the world's first live 285 graphics card. And why would I be holding this up?
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
a good question.
It's kind of interesting because, so if I can pull up a quote that you said a while back, I want to say this was roughly about
a year ago.
About a year ago.
Yep.
So this is Kevin on them removing the AMD GPUs from their systems. This decision was based on a combination of many factors, including customer experiences, GPU performance/drivers/stability, and requests from our support staff. Kevin adds, based on our 15 years of experience building and selling award-winning high-performance PCs, we strongly feel the best PC gaming experiences are on Nvidia GPUs. Awkward. And then to add to that, so another response that we got from Origin was...
Yeah, they were speaking directly to us on this occasion as opposed to...
So this is,
Right.
So this is Alvaro Massis, which Origin...
Alvaro, yep.
Alvaro. This is Origin PC's technical support manager told us when we followed up on the issue. Primarily, the overall issues have been stability of the cards, overheating, performance, scaling, and the amount of time to receive new drivers on both desktop and mobile GPUs. We've also seen a high percentage of failures on AMD cards in the field within the first few months. Even after replacing with multiple AMD cards, the failures continued. Switching these same exact customers to Nvidia resulted in fixing these failures, and therefore obviously a much more positive customer experience. So those are... So it's even more awkward now. so it's very unusual. It's very unusual to have you guys all in the same room after a year, which really isn't that long ago. So can you sort of tell us what's happening here?
Well, I mean, a lot can happen in a year in our industry. A year is almost a lifetime. But obviously things have changed. I mean, a year ago we weren't getting any communication, any support from AMD, and we didn't want to make a move like that, but we felt like we had to give our customers the experience, the lifetime support that we offer on all of our products. We felt like we had to get support from whoever, we're getting product from. We weren't getting the communication and support, and we felt like we had to. So now, Roy's been in contact with me and the whole AMD team, and, things are completely different from a year ago. We're now getting communication. We know what's coming before it arrives. We're able to test it. Our engineers are taking a look at it. And, the support is there and the communication is there, and we're happy to say that you can now go to our website and you can get an AMD GPU.
So did you guys... Was it something from customers? Is that my phone? Whose phone is that?
That was me.
Oh, okay. At least I'm not being the bad host.
Yeah.
My
bad.
I'm not saying that you're being a bad guest.
And I'm hallucinating, so there's that too.
So was it? Did you approach AMD? Did AMD approach you guys? Did your customers ask you, hey, why don't you have AMD GPUs? I mean, how's that?
It initially started when Roy reached out to me, and he just said, hey, I want to talk to you guys and see what's up, and that's how it started.
Okay. I remember at the time there were tons of rumors floating around I mean, one big one was that Nvidia was paying you guys. And
yeah, Gordon, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, he did have a few questions that he wanted to ask. One of them was about that. See if I can pull that one up. At the time Origin dumped AMD cards, the website semiaccurate.com reported that according to its quote-unquote sources, Nvidia prompted Origin to dump AMD due to a super secret program from them called quote-unquote Tier 0. And now that AMD and Origin are BFFs again, can you shed any light on the allegations from Semi-Accurate and whether there was ever a program called Tier 0 initiated by Nvidia that Origin was a part of?
So, I mean, it just simply wasn't true. I mean, it's unfortunate that rumors started spreading. And it's kind of funny because there wasn't any communication, we ended up making our announcement the same day that AMD did an announcement, which we didn't know was happening. So that further led people to believe that, oh, they did it on purpose on the same exact day because they're trying to do something. So it just, that was completely not true. There was nothing going on. There's no reason for NVIDIA to give us anything. And we wouldn't take anything from any partner to not give our customers options. You know, it's just not worth it at the end of the day. But we felt like we had to do it for other reasons.
Were you referring to the AMD's the Hawaii GPU announcements?
It wasn't the Hawaii GPU announcement because that happened while we were still with them. And that was one of the reasons why we were not happy, is that we had no communication before that.
Right.
And we're like, wow, this just happened. And we're a partner of AMD's, and we had no idea. So it was one of the things that kind of blindsided us. So it was after that, but it was shortly after that.
Okay.
And, you know, as far as that website, that one website that made that article, you know, I reached out to them and asked them, you know, why did you send out this information without reaching out to me for comment, without even asking us anything?
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, it was kind of interesting because we sort of, I mean, from the outside, we're looking at the situation and, you know, if the NVIDIA thing wasn't true, what else could it be? And then we saw that, you know, Main Gear was featured on the main stage at the Hawaii announcement, which is, you know, obviously a competitor to Origin. So I'm assuming that was, you know, one of the reasons why, I guess.
It wasn't that. It's another thing that people were trying to find, you know, other reasons other than just listening to us saying we're not getting any communication and support. But people were also trying to find other reasons. So that was one of the things. And I mean, we really didn't expect for us to be there and be on stage. We wouldn't expect that. We just expected to be notified of, hey, this is going on. It's coming up.
Yeah, Gordon was also curious as to whether there was like a beef between you guys, Main Gear, and if so, where that started.
No,
I
mean, there's a lot of people out there that build custom PCs, and you know, we all are in the same market and competing for the same customer. But at the end of the day, I believe there's plenty of room for us to all survive, and there's a lot of PC gamers out there, and you know, we're all servicing different slices of that PC gaming market.
Okay.
So would you say like the issues that you previously had with AMD are now squashed or resolved?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. It's like I said, it's like a night and day difference.
And this is something that Gordon asked, but like how would you know that those issues are resolved without the cards being back in your ecosystem for, you know, a few months?
Well, I mean, it was communication primarily. What is coming down the road? That communication we needed. And if something pops up, who do we talk to? You know, we now have direct access to people at AMD. If we're having any stability issues or driver issues or anything that happens, you know, any piece of hardware, something's going to happen in the field. It's going to happen sooner or later. So when it does happen, our techs, our engineers have to be able to call someone and say, hey, we're seeing this in the field. Are you guys seeing the same thing? Is it already diagnosed? Is this something new? You know, and let's go from there. In the past, we couldn't call. In the past, we didn't have anyone to call. Now we have dedicated people, and we're already testing product. We're already giving feedback and getting feedback in return. So, yes, it's definitely solved.
Okay. Sorry, you were going to say?
Yeah, and I want to just add to that, Jimmy, that the AMD of today is a very different AMD from a year ago, and vastly different even from 2 years ago. And so we've been able to make commitments to Kevin and to his team at Origin, which enable them to pass on those guarantees and support in new ways that we weren't able to do before.
So is what Kevin originally, you know, his what he said publicly a year ago, was that sort of a wake-up call to you guys?
Yeah, you know, in my role, I'm responsible for customers like Origin all around the world. And as Corporate Vice President for Global Channel Sales, you can't be successful in the channel unless you're enjoying the support and endorsement and the business of customers like Kevin and Origin. And so when I took on the role and I joined AMD, right from the outset, I knew that we had to win the hearts and minds of the enthusiast community, both end users and the computer manufacturers like Origin. So we set out to put together a number of programs and commitments that would make them feel comfortable. And I would say, Jimmy, we're still not done in earning their trust. We're on the way. We're delighted that Kevin's here. We still got a lot of work to do. Not everybody is yet converted in a way that we'd like them to be, and we think they can be. So we still got to reach out. That's why we're pleased to have the chance to come on and talk to you today. We've done some practical measures. We have a thing called the AMD Partner Program, which has over 30,000 users around the world. And we added a track to that, which we call Hero Builders, because we recognize that what's appropriate to give a Best Buy or a large retailer isn't always what's appropriate for customers like Kevin. So, for example, Best Buy does not need advanced access to drivers or BIOSes. Kevin does. Best Buy might want a lot of marketing money, but they don't necessarily want early access to Tonga. Kevin does. And so we introduced what we call a hero track to the program, specifically aimed at making sure that customers like Kevin and Origin get the support they need. So we've really put the focus and the resources in to this community because we care about it so much.
Okay.
Going back to one of the things he said a year ago, he was citing driver issues. And I know about a little over a year ago, probably closer to 2 years ago, AMD basically said that instead of doing the monthly updates, they would just kind of release it whenever it was necessary. Can you sort of walk us through that mindset? Because what we're hearing from our readers is that while they like AMD cards, their drivers aren't up to par with the green teams.
Yeah, I'm happy to address that. I was at Nvidia for 12 years. I was there as one of the founders of Nvidia in Europe, and I joined AMD in January of 2013. And one of the things I expected when I joined was to find these terrible problems I always heard about the drivers. And when I actually looked into it, when you do the real analysis, the drivers have moved on incredibly from where they used to be. And they're far from perfect, but they're also far from being the drivers that people associated in the past. When we took on Raja Koduri, one of the things that he wanted to do was to really make our drivers world class. And I would say to anybody watching this podcast, if you're considering to use AMD, please don't worry about the drivers, because if you actually look at the data, that is bugs filed, issues that we receive, we're in a terrific place today. We really are. I'm a keen Battlefield player myself. I've used our products ourselves, and I think that our drivers have come on tremendously.
So you think it's mostly a perception issue?
I think I wouldn't say that it's only perception. That would imply the drivers are perfect, and they're not. But nor anybody else's, by the way. But they have come on an incredibly long way, and I don't think anybody should be deterred by them in the state they are now.
Okay, cool. So why don't we get into the new video card here a little bit more?
Yeah, this is the 285 Tonga, which is our newest product. We're delighted to give one of the very first samples we have to Kevin and Origin because we know they'll make the best use of it. It's our new product. It's aimed squarely at giving competition to Nvidia. It's about 26% faster than the GTX 760 in 3D Mark Firestrike, and it's faster than the GTX 760 across a whole range of games. It features our new GCN architecture. It supports Mantle. It's ready for DirectX 12. And we're thrilled with it. We can't wait to get it into gamers' hands.
So is this designed to replace the 280 or the 280X?
This will come in at above the 280, and so be positioned at that price point around $249, and it'll be available on September 2nd.
Okay. It's also my understanding that it draws a lot less power than the 280 and the 280X.
Yes, that's right. I can't remember the exact numbers. Help me out, Chris. I think it's 85 watts.
Because I've seen some photos of the connectors, the PCI Express Power connectors, and it looks like They use at most 2 6-pin connectors.
Well, you can look at there you go. 2 6-pin connectors.
Yeah, so that's like I think 150 watts coming from the power supply, and then 75 from the slot itself. So that's like maximum of like what 225, I guess.
Yeah, it's a dramatic improvement, and it's also much quieter. The reference design is around, I think, less than 40 dB, and our partners, right-in-board partners, I'm sure will improve upon that still.
Okay.
And one thing that, because I think we have one in the office, and one thing that I noticed that it has 2 gigabytes of GDR5 VRAM, which is actually less than the 280. Is that right? Because you said the 280
Yeah,
had
the
3.
280 has 3 gigs.
So that's kind of interesting. It has less, but it's supposed to be a higher class than 280.
Yeah, I think that depending on the application, for most of the applications for which it's aimed, we think that'll be fine. But that is the reference design. Our partners will, I'm sure, bring out other designs with larger frame buffers.
Gotcha. Yeah, because one thing that we're noticing from like benchmarking games is that, especially with ports of like the next gen consoles, is that they're using a lot of VRAM. In some cases, 4, maybe over.
Yeah, and in the case of
like Watch Dogs.
Yeah, Watch Dogs, it was using a whole lot of it, as much as we could throw at it. But that might actually be an optimization issue on their end. So it's difficult to say. But definitely, as you get up into 4K resolution, you're going to be sucking up a lot of VRAM. So.
And who doesn't want 4K?
Right. So do you plan to have like a 4 gigabyte version of this card later on, or a 3 gigabyte version, or is it just?
Well, as I said, the board that you have and the one that we have here is a reference design.
Okay.
We're very supportive of our partners adding value, and I'm sure that there'll be other options available pretty soon after launch.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we had AMD. Well, your AMD's Richard Huddy on here not that long ago, and he was basically saying that we're moving towards video cards incorporating more VRAM. So I was kind of surprised to see that it just had less. Just thought I'd point that out. If you don't mind us switching gears to the CPU side.
Sure.
A lot of our readers, want to know: are you guys still playing, at the high end, x86 market, to compete with Intel, above the $150 price point?
Yeah, I read recently that there's going to be 3 new CPUs in the FX line, the 8000 series. Are those higher clocked versions of the current 8000 series, or is that new architecture, or what's going on there?
It's the same CPU architecture. The first model is going to be the FX 8370, which will come in above the 8350. It'll be slightly faster. And then we've got 2 models which are designated with the E suffix, and those will run at 95 watts. So they'll draw less power. And those are aimed for those that are concerned about that. And we know that many of your listeners and readers are. So yeah, 3 new models, and they'll be available on September 2nd. And at the same time, we're also, by the way, refreshing the stack. So we're repricing all of the models in the range, including the FX 9590 and the 9370. The FX 9590 will come down to, I think, about $219. And we'll be repricing all through the stack. A very, very popular model we have is the FX 6300, the 6-core part, and that'll be available for $99. Our sales indicate that FX processors are still very, very popular. We still sell several 100,000 units every quarter around the world. And as for our competing and staying in this market, I joined AMD as a gaming enthusiast. We're absolutely devoted to this market. And so we can't comment on unannounced products, but please don't let anybody be in any doubt that we don't absolutely love the enthusiast community.
Well, we've had concerns, and our readers have had concerns about the future of the AM3 Plus platform beyond Vishera. It appears, from our perspective, as though AMD, at least on the desktop, is focusing on FM2 and FM2 Plus in the APU market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're 2 separate tracks. I mean, we love our APUs, and we've been putting a lot of investment into them. We think, we have to cater for 2 markets. And the largest market, of course, is not the enthusiast market. And so we want to make sure that we can take care of those that can't afford the very highest end rigs. And our Kaveri A10 APU will run Battlefield 4 at 1080p, which for a lot of people is sufficient, and for a lot of people it's what their budgets can stretch to.
Yeah.
And so we want to take care of those of that audience too. And so we've been developing the APU range, and we're going to continue to develop the APU range. And as we see OpenCL get more widely adopted, the GPU and the APU has taken a stronger role. That's one track. On the other side, on FX, yes, we understand we have a very strong fan base. When I tweeted that something new has come in regarding the water-cooled retail box, I was astonished at the reaction at everybody wanting a new FX processor. All I want to say to everybody that tweeted and who emailed me directly, your voices are very heard, and we're paying close attention. But we can't comment right now on stuff which is unannounced.
That sounds good. I mean, besides the gaming market, there's also, professional, video editors and stuff like that. I had a friend recently, he's that's what he does for a living, video editing. And so he's asking me, like, what CPU he should get for his new build and stuff like that. And, at this point, like, honestly, I have to recommend enthusiast Intel part. So
You don't have to. You might have wanted to. You don't have to. Because depending on his budget, an FX 8-core is an excellent product for video editing. And depending on what his needs are, you may have led him to spend money. Are you sure you're a good friend? I'm not sure. Poor guy had to spend too much money.
The Vishera part is pretty old.
Hey, I'm pretty old. That doesn't mean that being old doesn't mean you're not cool.
So, moving on, I just wanted to talk about DDR4 a little bit. This is also from Gordon, but he goes, we're guessing that AMD is waiting for DDR4 to mature before wading in. When do you think DDR4 availability and pricing will stabilize enough for AMD to play in?
Well, talking of being old, I've seen a lot of DRAM transitions. And the one thing you can be sure is that they come faster than you expect them to. Right now, DDR4 is hard to get and very expensive. But it won't take very long for that to change. And whatever's faster for gamers and whatever offers more performance, we want to be involved with. And all I can tell you is we're watching very closely that space.
Okay. Do you guys have any idea of how much DDR4 is going to retail for, or like a window when we might see it?
We've been taking a poll basically of everybody who might know, seeing if we can get some numbers on that. But so far,
yeah. So basically, you have to tell us.
Yeah.
Well, I wish that we had a crystal ball that was that good. I mean, obviously, Intel's new platform is coming, which uses DDR4, and for those customers that want to buy that, we know that many of them will use Radeon. We know that many of our customers will put those platforms together with Radeon, which we're very pleased about. But as for the price in the DDR4, I don't know anything more than you do. The DDR manufacturers, they don't make me privy to their price plans.
All right. Well, we figure if we keep on asking, then someone's going to give us some intel.
You got to get the memory guys in here.
You should buy something from Samsung.
Yeah, we actually just had Kingston in here,
right.
and
they were like,
yeah, it's like my lips are just zipped. Here's another question from Gordon. The new X99 seems to have the ability to run 5 GPUs. Are there any planned by card makers to enable 5-way GPU support?
Well, that's a great question.
That's a lot of GPUs too.
That's a lot of GPUs, and we've been astonished. There seems to be no end to the appetite for multi GPU systems. We got a customer right now that's using two 295X, so 4-way GPU, with 5 1080p monitors, and he's not alone. But I don't know. I've been doing lots of talking. Kevin, what do you think? You take care of these customers.
Oh, well, we have the same appetite that you're talking about. I mean, if we can get more power and more performance and a better gaming experience, we're all for it.
Well, I think on our side, the jump to 4K really does seem to have ushered in a whole new level of desire for extra performance, because it seems like you do need about $1,000 worth of GPU to sustain 60 frames
minimum
per second.
I would say more than that.
Yeah.
For 60 frames, more than that.
Yeah.
You know, if any of your listeners have not tried 4K, I play Battlefield 4 at 4K. It is just beautiful.
It's hard to go back. Yeah.
Yeah, I just gawp at the water sometimes.
Yeah.
It is just beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, like, yeah, 4K looks great when it works, but there are some scaling issues that, every now and then.
And Windows itself, the
Windows
icons
itself,
and the
Chrome,
yeah.
and I mean, obviously you need the beefy GPU, which I'm sure both of you guys would, would love your customers to adopt.
Yeah, do you know if Microsoft's going to have built-in 4K support with Windows 9?
I don't know, but apparently there's going to be a preview, a beta preview, rumors, speculation
next month sometime.
Yeah, sometime next month. So maybe we'll see some of that then, or maybe they won't put that in until later, if at all. So,
but if you stick with it, very soon those fonts look okay. At the beginning, you're kind of like.
You can do some manual scaling, but there are some programs where this doesn't work. Like Steam, for example, this doesn't really pay much attention to your attempts to make it look legible, or it doesn't scale correctly.
And there are some games where the UI is not optimized. And you have to wait for a patch. But
yeah, it was like when we were transitioning from standard def to high def, and there were Xbox and PS3 games that were really designed for HD, and so when you played them on an SD TV, you had to squint. You couldn't really see what was going on because everything was so tiny. Yeah, so we're seeing some of that now with 4K.
You just have to have two monitors then. 4K monitor and a 1080p monitor.
Yeah, one for
Solves
gaming,
everything.
one for exactly.
Yeah, I mean, our past Dream Machine issue, which is should be out now. We actually were experimenting with 3 4K monitors at one point, and it's just there's no way. I mean, video cards aren't that powerful yet, even with 295 X2s. So
yeah, we've run some of that in the office.
It seems like there is room for a 5 GPU setup, I guess.
Sure.
Kevin, you going to build one?
Sure. We will build it.
If you want to build it, then we'll help make sure it works.
Yeah. I got another question from Gordon. He asked, we've talked to a lot of boutique vendors about their splits between AMD and Nvidia GPUs in multi-GPU boxes. Consumers in GPU boxes that our consumers are paying for. The vast majority of ones have said that basically it's about 95% Nvidia. The vendors don't really care what they sell, as it's just money, but it seems that at the very high end, Nvidia seems to be ruling the roost. Why do you believe this is, and what is AMD doing to change it?
Well, I can tell you one thing I do want to take up with Gordon. They do care, actually. One of the reasons that Kevin was in the position he was is because he cares, and I know his partners and his team care very, very much. They want their users to have the very best experience, right?
Yep.
So I would not agree with Gordon that it's just money to them. And to that end, we're coming from the back foot. You guys know this. Anyone watching this podcast knows that. AMD's been in a turnaround. But we're working really, really hard. Do we have our fair share of the business? No. I think that many of your listeners and viewers will know that they had that perception as drivers. But here's what we do know: that when people do try Radeon today, they like it, and we know that because we just ran the AMD Live event. We had 168,000 fans come and watch that event. We had 32 million media impressions. Team Red now has 15,000 members. That's 15,000 advocates. And we're not done. We've got a lot of work to do to win everybody's trust. But what we do know is this: that when they try it, they like it. And we've got this thing running right. Friends don't let friends buy GeForce until they've tried Radeon.
We had NVIDIA's Tom Peterson on the podcast not too long ago, and what he was saying about AMD was that AMD is a hardware company, whereas NVIDIA views itself as more than just a hardware company and also a software company as well. And he was saying they offer things like GeForce Experience and optimal playable settings and stuff like that. So what do you have to say in response to that?
Well, anybody that's in this business today is in the software business. To say the or not, we would like, if it's like saying Microsoft's in the CD-ROM business, we, of course, are also in the software business. And not only are we in it, but I believe that we're offering experiences which are better than our competitor. If you look at Game and Evolved, there's no question it's superior to, I can't remember what NVIDIA's once called.
GeForce Experience.
GeForce Experience.
Jinx.
Yeah, and I think it's better. Now, we didn't do all of it ourselves. We're working with Dennis Fong and the team at Raptor, who are a great bunch of guys. And we think that working together with them is the best thing to do to get the best experience possible.
So I guess the question is, and in what ways do you think gaming evolved is better than GeForce experience?
Oh, the DVR for one thing is much better, and the hardware acceleration.
You talk
is also
about
better.
your solution versus Shadowplay.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But talking of software, I mean, I love Tom. I worked with Tom for many years. He's a lovely guy, but of course he would say that. So
Burn.
if you're going to talk about software, what about Mantle? The most wonderful piece of software to hit the PC gaming industry since the invention of the GPU. I mean, what a wonderful thing we brought to the world. So, if anyone wants to lay claim to being in the software business, I
Right.
think it's AMD.
Now, speaking of Mantle, there's Battlefield 4 and Thief, but as far as other games that are out right
Plants
now that
vs.
use
Zombies.
Mantle, like what else is there? I can't.
Yeah, it's only a handful of titles at the moment.
It's my impression that the Mantle games are going to start coming out like this fall and the winter and spring, like going on. Like how many Mantle games do you think we can expect to see in the next 6 months?
Well, using Mantle is a fast route to DirectX 12. I think Richard's spoken at length about that. We have, I've got the exact numbers here, over 50 games developers using Mantle now. And we got some big titles. Sid Meier's Beyond Earth is a big title. We're pretty pleased about that. Thief, Sniper Elite. It's more than just a handful. In fact, actually, and I don't know if you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, I can't remember exactly, but I think I'm right in saying there are actually more Mantle titles available now and in development at this time since Mantle was launched than there was from this time when DirectX 11 first came out. Let's remember, Mantle came about at the request of the game's developers. It wasn't something that we tried to foist so that we could win benchmarks. You know what I'm talking about. This is something we brought about as a reaction to a request. So we believe that Mantle's going to continue to be successful, and it offers something very special to gamers around the world.
So do you see any games coming out this winter or fall that you would consider flagship examples of Mantle?
Yeah, Sid Meier's Beyond Earth. It's an awesome game.
All right.
It's Sid Meier. I mean,
Yeah,
wow.
Tom's a big Civ.
Yeah.
Civ fan.
Well, there you go. There you go, Tom. There's a great game that's coming out with Mantle.
Yeah.
So
I-
go ahead, Tom.
No, I was just going to say I checked it out recently, but I can't say anything about it because it's under embargo. So I share your enthusiasm, but I can't
Thanks
be
for teasing
specific.
us.
I can't be specifically enthusiastic.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, I guess to be honest, I guess I was trying to. So I'm the online managing editor, and I was trying to commission a story in which we would benchmark some of the Mantle games out today. But it seems like there's only like a handful. Like I want to say like 3, maybe 4. And then I was kind of surprised because I just learned that it doesn't support Fraps either, which is kind of like the industry standard benchmarking.
Yeah, because
tool
it's
when
DirectX.
Yeah. So I mean, do you guys plan on supporting Fraps? Or do you guys have your own proprietary benchmark recorder?
Does anybody play Fraps?
Yeah,
It is
I
a
mean,
handy tool, though.
it is like, it is sort of the universal tool to say, like, what frames do you get in so-and-so game.
Well, I need to be very careful, or else this kind of sheep's hook's going to come and yank me away from the microphone. But I can tell you there's going to be some very exciting news on the benchmarking front very soon. And that's all I can say. All right, the sheep's hook is going to yank me out of my seat.
Okay.
But there is, when we turn the mics off, I'll tell you're going to be jazzed.
All right. Fair enough.
Gotcha. I have another question from...
Sorry, viewers.
Another question from Gordon. He asks, one of the more exciting segments of PCs today is the micro tower and the holy grail to get the real multi-GPU performance, not mobile parts, not low-end desktop parts, in a machine the size of a game console. Vendors are starting to do this with Nvidia's Titan Z, which otherwise can't compete with the X2 on price-to-performance ratio. But the problem is you can't fit an X2 into a micro tower because the CLC. Do you see this as a problem for AMD?
Well, I think you're talking about boxes like the Tiki and
And Origin has a small box as well.
Chronos, yes.
Chronos. My challenge would be the engineering work that was required to do that was considerable. That wasn't easy to do to build those boxes. But my challenge to Kevin and to Falcon and to the rest and to the rest of the community is, if you could do it for the second best graphics card, why would you not do it for the first best graphics card?
Well, because it has a closed loop cooler, which adds some.
Well, at the
There's
very
some
beginning,
ergonomics issues, I guess, is the...
and there weren't at the very beginning when they first designed them.
Yeah.
Come on, guys! If you're that good, give the consumer the best.
Yeah.
If you're really that good and you did it once, what are you, one shot, one trick pony? If you can do it once, you can do it again. So I would say I'm going to challenge the community to give the consumers the very best.
So we have our Kronos micro tower, and it's a pretty cool micro tower. You can stand it vertically or horizontally. But it has a 120 liquid cooler on it, our frostbite cooler, but that's for the CPU. So on the GPU, we don't have any room to do a cooler. So we accept your challenge, but how are we going to fit 2 coolers in there?
we're making it awkward.
No, it's okay. So I'll tell you what, where there's a will, there's a way. You know, Kevin.
Let's figure it out together.
Yes, if you want to do it, then we'll help. We'll help with NRE money. We'll help with the design, and we have a terrific relationship with Acetec or any other cooling companies. Let's find a way. Let's do something special for the world.
Sure.
Yep. You heard it here first.
Look at that. Look what you guys have just created.
We're making the world a better place right here on the No BS podcast.
It's a humanitarian effort.
As a tangent, I had a question on what are your guys' thoughts on the Steam machine? Because I know both of you guys are involved with AMD and Origin. So I mean,
Sure.
did that kind of lose traction a little bit?
So I mean, when the Steam OS got delayed, it definitely lost traction.
Yeah. And the controller got delayed too, right?
Yeah, the controller and the OS go hand in hand. The OS will not launch without the controller. We have a Steam box in production. We were there at their announcement at CES. We had our machine there. Did really well. Got some awards. And our position is actually that it's just like any one of our other systems. We're going to build it with the highest performance, the most customization, and our lifetime 24/7 support. So, when it's ready, we'll have it ready, and we're excited about it. But time will tell. I mean, we're waiting to see the new controller and see what that does. So it's kind of like on the shelf this year. So it definitely lost some steam in the Steam. But when it comes back,
right?
yeah. But I mean, it's Valve. When it comes back, it's going to come back strong.
Okay, I know. So you said you're building it for like your high-end users and stuff like that. And it seems
we'll
like
have sorry to cut you off, but we'll have a customizable unit. So
Okay.
it can be single GPU, multi GPU. It's not only the high end, but when we do offer our high end one, we're aiming to offer the highest performance.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I'm seeing like the different designs and specs, and it seems to run the gamut. Some vendors are like Alienware and stuff like that, starting at like $500. I think Side by Power starting around there too. And then you have like I think like Falcon and stuff like that going up to like 2,500 or whatever. It seems really high end for what is essentially a Linux console.
Right.
So I was just wondering where you guys sort of fit in there.
We don't have our price point yet because we don't know the price of the OS. Well, the OS is free, but of the controller.
Okay.
So we haven't released any pricing information. All of our announcements have been when it comes out, we'll give you more information. We don't even know what our starting app price is going to be at right now. But we're going to offer a dual boot solution as well. So, it will be a high performance, high end unit, but not just a Linux box. It'll have both OSs. And we're aiming to offer just, the best gaming experience. You can get everything in one box.
Speaking of configurations, I was looking at your Millennium systems just on my phone, and I noticed that I only saw one AMD card as an option. And there was out of I think it was 7 or 8 cards. Do you plan to branch that out later on?
Absolutely. On September 2nd, we'll be launching the 285.
Okay.
And probably this week you'll probably see a little bit more. I don't know if on the Genesis there's more than the Millennium.
Okay.
But our Millennium is our middle SKU. We have the Kronos small form factor, the Millennium, and then the Genesis is the flagship.
Okay.
The Genesis is it the same thing as the Millennium with the extra bay at the bottom?
Yeah, the same exact chassis as the Millennium, but it
Okay.
has the expansion bay at the bottom. And we offer some different options in there, some higher end liquid cooling options and such.
Okay. So this question to both you guys. Are you guys working with Valve on this project?
I'll be seeing them tomorrow, yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Well, we're huge fans of Valve, and personally I have been for the longest time. You will recall that when iBuyPower announced that their Steam box, it was actually with AMD. And going back to what we were saying about APU, the combination of a strong CPU and a GPU in the APU makes the APU actually the perfect product for the best value possible Steam box. And so as soon as Valve is ready, as soon as Gabe and his team are ready, we'll be ready. And there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that the best value Steam box will absolutely be with AMD, because Nvidia doesn't make CPUs, and Intel doesn't make such good GPUs. So really, the best solution will be coming from us.
So it seems like your Steam machine focus is going to be on the APU angle, as opposed to.
Yeah, I mean, because we got a GPU that will run Battlefield 4 at 1080p, and we got a CPU which will do the same. So we got it in one package. So the performance and power and price point, we absolutely have to be in the lead.
Okay. So I mean, what has your relationship been with Valve?
We enjoy a relationship with them on many levels. We in developer relations, we optimize for their games, and so we continue to keep an open and friendly relationship with them, and we cooperate with them at all levels.
Is it possible to see like mantle support in Steam machines?
What a wonderful idea! I couldn't possibly comment, but what a wonderful idea!
I feel like there's an announcement to come soon, from the sound of it.
You said that. I don't.
Okay, fair enough.
I didn't say that.
Fair enough. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Okay.
Transitioning to another upcoming technologies, VR is sort of emerging right now. Last time we had Nvidia here, they sort of teased the fact that they are possibly even developing an in-house VR headset. Is the impression that I got.
Yeah.
Well, Tegra has to go somewhere.
Yeah, and it seems like they're working with Oculus as well. So I asked Richard Huddy what he thought about VR and Oculus, and he didn't really have an opinion. So I was wondering if you guys had one, if maybe AMD's opinion on that matured at all.
Well, I can tell you first of all, a caveat. I'm personal friends with Brendan and Reeb. And so
now you're just name dropping.
Yeah, I know.
That's the president of Oculus.
Yes.
Okay.
Our relationship goes back to when he was CEO of Scaleform. So I was very, very fortunate to be able to be invited down by Brendan to go and actually try out the latest products down there, and it's astonishing. I mean, it's truly astonishing. If you haven't tried the very latest that they have, it's mind-boggling, and I'm a fan. In fact, I think I tweeted immediately afterwards, and I think that we don't know just how good it's going to be. We do know that the headset's going to need very high quality precision processing power on the CPU and the GPU, and it's going to need to do that with low power in the future. And that's a place where we're very, very, very strong. We're very well positioned. So quite how virtual reality is going to yet pan out, I don't think anyone knows absolutely for sure, but we're fans. AMD is a fan. I'm a personal fan of Oculus, and we think this is going to be a huge area in the future, and we're going to be very close to it.
Are you guys investing in the technology at all right now? Or?
Yeah, we have a number of projects which I can't disclose working in this area, but I can tell you we're big fans, and we got big hopes for virtual reality.
Okay, cool. AMD made news headlines fairly recently by announcing that they're selling SSDs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sort of an interesting choice because it is sort of a pretty crowded market, I feel. So can you sort of delve into how you guys got into that?
Yeah, similar with the Radeon memory. We are committed to PC gaming, and we want PC gamers to have the best experience they possibly can. When it came to Radeon memory, we saw an opportunity to make it easy for users to set up by having something called AMD memory profiles in the DIMM modules, so the user didn't have to worry about pre-configuring or going into the BIOS. So when we saw that opportunity to add something for gamers, we took it. And now we see the same with SSDs. We see an opportunity to bring high-performance SSDs to gamers at a price that they can afford. So the Radeon SSD range sits somewhere between the commodity parts and workstation class. It's just the beginning, but we're going to continue to develop that area together with our partner because we see value. And like I said, I'm a gamer myself, and I love Battlefield 4, but the map load times are a little bit of a pain.
Yeah.
And so by switching to SSD, I managed to dramatically improve that. And so we got together with the team and said, why don't we bring out Radeon SSDs to help gamers everywhere?
Cool. Transitioning again, I review laptops, mostly gaming laptops, but sometimes an Ultrabook or something like that or Ultra Portable will come my way. And it seems like like especially with gaming laptops, mostly everything that comes on my desks uses Intel Nvidia combo. So I was just sort of wondering why I'm not seeing more AMD in the gaming laptop space or ultra portable space.
Well, I think again that's the past. If you look at the new models coming to market now, we've actually we are doing incredibly well with new models and new ranges, and Radeon is becoming very popular for gaming notebooks. So I would say watch this space. And in fact, we could probably follow up to this by giving you a list of on the record models, which you can actually add as a kind of as an edit to this to the podcast.
Okay. I mean, do you guys, Origin and Kevin, do you guys have any AMD setup configurations?
On the mobile side, we don't have AMD GPUs right now.
Okay.
In the future, we'll probably be there.
Okay.
But
Can
right
you
now,
speak
we're
to
not
why? I mean, the why that's not available right now to make it awkward for everybody.
there. Well, we just started with the desktops. Give us time. No.
Yes, right.
It's a good answer.
I mean, really, Roy came to us and said, let's talk again. So we started the conversations, and our conversation started around desktop. So we're concentrating on that right now.
Okay.
I think that's where we want to focus right now. But mobile is something that's definitely on our list, but we're not there yet.
Gotcha. Speaking of Origin laptops, though, I noticed you guys put out a press release saying you can trade in your Alienware or something like that and get a discount or something like that.
Yes,
off of
you should be
Origin.
very interested in that program since I
Yeah, I mean, I have
you can take advantage of it.
When did that
an
start?
Alienware notebook. I want to say this is pretty recent, isn't it? Like about 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago?
like 1 or 2 weeks ago. I think 1 week ago.
Yeah.
What's your response rate been so far?
It's been amazing.
Why is
It's
this
been
specifically Alienware?
So that's a great question. I mean, the reason why we came up with this program is that we were already getting the requests. People were coming to us, and because of our background, we're former Alienware executives who now started our own company.
Oh yeah.
We have a lot of Alienware fans that come to us, and they say, I'm no longer an Alienware fan. I'm not a fan of Dell. I don't want a Dell product.
Right. I
want a boutique gaming PC. That's what you guys offer. So can you help me with my old Alienware? A lot of people come to us all the time with those requests, and we really can't help them. So then we decided, maybe with our new thin and light notebook, it really is more powerful than the Alienware offering. It's thinner. It's a perfect opportunity to say, you know what, if you want to trade in an Alienware laptop for this laptop, trade up, go with us. And so we had the demand already from the Alienware customers. And then the other reason is that we have to do something with these products. We have to resell them. So there has to be a resale market. If we're going to allow you to trade something in, there has to be a resale market, and they have a nice resale market.
What does that mean? There's a nice resale market. What do you?
So we can get that product in and then resell it.
Okay, just
like eBay or sell it to somebody else as a used product.
Okay.
So,
kind of like GameStop, but for hardware instead of games.
Exactly, similar to GameStop, but our trade-in values are very, very fair.
I thought it was maybe because I believe I looked at your LinkedIn and you used to work at Alienware. Is that correct?
Yes, my previous life I was at Alienware for 10 years.
Okay.
Origin PC is now going to be 5 years in November.
Okay.
So I've been doing high performance PCs for 15 years, and
I thought it was your way to stick it to the man type of.
Some people were like, "Oh, really? You want to just target them?" And,
yeah, I was like, "Why just Alienware?" But that's kind of interesting. Tom, do you have any more questions, or should I move on to like some reader stuff?
No, I think that was it.
Okay. So we have some reader questions and stuff like that I posted on our social media pages and Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. So if you guys don't mind.
Sure.
Jacob Bromingham or Brob, I don't know how to pronounce that. He asks, how do you get a job working for Origin PC?
Well, you have to know me. No, just kidding. We have a careers website where you can see what jobs we have opening right now. We are based in Miami, Florida, and we are looking for talent to be in our corporate headquarters. So you can just apply careers@originpc.com. What we're looking for varies. I mean, we do everything in-house. We do web design, we do the manufacturing, the technical support, the sales. So we're looking for basically all of those different positions. So you can just email us and say, here's my resume, here's my portfolio if you're a designer, and we'll take a look.
Cool. Do you pay relocation fees?
How good are you? I don't know. Right. I mean, it all depends.
He can clean bathrooms really well.
We can negotiate later.
We have some dirty bathrooms sometimes.
Out of curiosity, do you guys ever get confused with the Origin EA?
It happens all the time, and I noticed on your question that you tweeted, it happened in that somebody tweeted back, oh, well, how could I get rid of my downloader or something? So it actually
how you guys
happens.
feel about that? You guys were around before. EA service,
Yeah,
I believe.
Origin PC is 2009, and EA's Origin I think was 1 or 2 years later.
Okay.
It's frustrating, but EA owned Origin software for 20 years, so technically they owned Origin software, and it's difficult for a smaller startup company to go after a larger organization anyways.
Well, Microsoft got lost. What was it, the Metro thing, to some German retail store?
They have to refer to it as modern.
Yeah.
We get confused with Maxim magazine every once in a while, so I feel your pain.
So that girls show up here for photo shoots, and you're like, man, this sucks.
I wish.
It's more like Tom just comes in a bikini. I'm like, Tom.
No, but so EA owned Origin software, so we really couldn't say, well, let's go to war. Wasn't worth it. But we do actually get calls all the time saying,
God.
I have Sims, and why doesn't it work? And I want my money back. And we're like, so we apologize. You called the wrong company. We're Origin PC. We make computers. We're not EA Origin. Well, can you transfer me?
Yeah.
No, it's a different company.
Right.
No, but we can sell you a PC to run the game.
Yes,
Right.
but if you want Sims to run better, take a look at our PCs.
Yeah.
Gotcha. This question comes from Vinny Ivor Eckhart. He goes, this is a question for AMD. Any plans for a 20 nanometer GPU?
Well, of course, we'll always look into improve. So I think, again, we can't comment
So
on
when,
unannounced products.
price,
MSRP.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was just about to reveal everything on this podcast.
We were that close.
Okay. So the answer is yes, they're looking into it. Okay.
Of course.
Jimmy Servader Jr. asks, when will we see ARM-based processors from AMD? And when will we see 128-bit CPUs, if ever?
Well, those are two good questions. In terms of on the ARM-based, we've already made a number of announcements in terms of where we're going in that direction. And whilst I can't commit to any dates or products right now, I think we're kind of on record with where we want to go with that. And
Actually, can you clarify?
Yeah, we announced a little while ago our ambidextrous platform strategy, where we're going to have a socket that's common across ARM and x86, and that's going to be very relevant in the server space. And as for what else we're going to do with that platform, we'll come back and do another podcast another day and tell you more.
Okay.
And in terms of 128-bit for a processor, again, I can't comment on our plans now. But this industry never stays still.
Okay. Do you guys feel like you guys sort of missed the boat in the ARM sector a little bit?
Well, that depends on what kind of products you're thinking of. In terms of your audience, where they would like us to make a new, bigger, and more powerful FX processor and announce it as soon as possible, no. In terms of the smartphone and tablet market, I think it's arguable that space has been pretty crowded. And if you look to one of our competitor, still struggling to get Tegra off the ground, and the competition they face, it's arguable that perhaps not. But that might not always be true.
Gotcha. This question comes from Felix Nicky Pisco.
Some unusual last names that you've selected for the.
I don't choose these names, man. This question's for Origin. Why are Origin PCs so beautiful? And I don't know if you submitted this question yourself, Kevin.
Yes. I mean, it goes back to our history. My partners, Richard Carey, Hector Penton, we've been doing this, all of us, for 15 years. And this is our passion. We love to do this. So we build PCs that we want to see in our own homes. So we take a lot of pride and effort into every single product that we build.
And you guys actually design your own chassis, right?
Yeah, we launched our own chassis in January at CES. And so we have our own Origin PC chassis. It's the only chassis in the world with variable mounting, where you can mount the motherboard 4 different ways. It's been doing awesome.
What mounting has been the most popular?
That's a good question. I don't know offhand, but I would guess it's going to be 90 degrees. Either the 90-degree standard or 90-degree inverted, with the window on the left or the right. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people like that look. It's better for, air cooling. But even when you get liquid cooling, it just looks awesome to have everything vertical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Kevin and the guys at Origin. The having the I/O on the top of the box, genius, absolute genius.
Much more accessible.
Yeah, it's just you see it and you're like, wow, why didn't someone else think of that?
Well, I guess the problem is that in the past it's been kind of messy having the cables stick out on the top of the case, so it takes some time to figure out how to iterate that design so that you kind of hide the potential mess that you can accumulate back there.
Yeah,
So-
you have to do some cable management, and a lot of time and effort went into designing our chassis, and for particular reasons like that, how are we going to do the motherboard 4 different mounts and make it look pretty every single time? So we have a lot of pieces that are actually interchangeable. They go from the back to the top to the front to the left, and at the end of the day, you can put your cables on the top with a 90-degree adapter, or just a cable that has a short throw so you can turn it, and then it pushes out of the back of the chassis.
Are you guys pushing more volume in the small form factor sector, or is it like the big chassis?
For us, the big chassis are more popular, but the micro towers are definitely gaining ground, and we're doing very well there as well. But for us, we play in the high-end premium space, so we're more all about the biggest, the baddest, the fastest, the best performance.
Cool. Christian Geohagen, Tom, that is a weird last name.
I tried to keep a straight face.
He asked, "Does AMD have anything to combat the new Pentium chips?" And I'm assuming he's referring to the anniversary edition Pentiums, which I think, Tom, you have some experience benchmarking, right? And said it was a pretty good chip.
Yeah, it'll go up to like 4.7 on a $30-40 third-party air cooler. So
Yeah. And how much is that chip?
$70 to $75.
Okay.
So
Do you guys? Yeah. Are you guys
pretty
competing in that
respectable.
Yes,
space?
we do. I'm working on that right now, and we're going to have something that we can announce very shortly. I did notice that with great interest, and we've seen the popularity of it, and we have something. So stay tuned. We'll be back very soon on that.
Seems like we should have talked to you like a month from now. Like there'd be a lot more things. But I guess that's always the case.
It's always,
There's always things that are happening
Yeah.
in the future that you
Why can't you
talk
just
about.
break NDAs and just tell us stuff? Yeah. Our readers are going to be mad at us for not pushing that. So.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Borrero Valentine asks, how soon are we going to see FreeSync monitors?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm very, very keen on FreeSync because I think free is much better than G. We'll have those. We'll be starting to sample in Q4, and certainly by the end of Q4, beginning of Q1, they'll be available to purchase in the shops. The reaction from the monitor manufacturers has been terrific. Being able to give a superb gaming experience, completely stutter-free, without having to pay a particular company a surcharge is a wonderful thing, and that's why I'm just fabulously keen on FreeSync.
So there's no licensing fee for
No,
FreeSync?
it's an open industry standard. Anyone can adopt it. We believe in open standards.
So we had Nvidia on the podcast not that long ago, and Tom Peterson, they were kind of ragging on FreeSync a little bit because
It's hard to believe that Nvidia would rag on us. Are you sure these are the right people?
but they were basically saying FreeSync, that's a lot of talk. Where is it? It's not out. G-Sync, you can buy it now. It's proven. It's tested. So
And it takes longer when you're working with industry standard bodies to bring about an industry standard. That takes longer. But at the end of the day, you're not in a situation when you have to embed proprietary technology in a monitor, and that lowers costs. So it's like any open standard. It takes longer because you're working with the industry.
okay. Can you sort of talk about how the technology is different than what G-Sync's doing, NVIDIA's doing with G-Sync?
Yes, anybody can adopt it. It's not proprietary.
And it doesn't involve having a dedicated chip inside the monitor. That's
Okay, so it's software driver based, firmware based, or something like that.
yeah. It's the 1.2 industry standard.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I can't wait to check it out. I'd love to see it. So Q4 around there is when Q4 or Q1 of next year.
We're very keen to get those into your hands, and we know there'll be side-by-side tests.
Exactly.
And all we can tell you is we can't wait for those side-by-side tests to take place.
Okay, cool. Alex Brockhill asks, why do AMD GPU drivers and Windows 8.1 drivers dislike each other? He says it freezes, and he had to switch it back to Windows 7 to get it working with the AMD card. That's all he said. No particular SKU or anything.
It's hard to comment on an individual case because without knowing the details. But I can tell you that for my personal interest after joining AMD, I went onto Twitter. I have 125,000 Twitter followers. And on average, I follow up personally about 6 to 8 driver threads each week. And I do that for my own interest and just to see for myself, the seriousness of the issues with drivers, because it is such a passionate subject. And I can tell you that on 7 out of 8 occasions, it's usually something other than the drivers. Now, that's not an excuse. I'm not trying to blame anyone else. But the perception of the driver issue as opposed to the reality of the driver issue are very different. And we're actually collecting together some data. And we're going to come back. Chris is going to come back with some of the driver folks soon and actually deliver some of the data that I've been referring to share that with you. I can tell you that on all occasions, we've never left anybody without their driver situation being resolved. And anybody that's dealt with me, I often put my email address onto Twitter, which I had legal and HR come to me. I am a brave man. But I do that because I want users to know how much we care. And I can't imagine what anybody would write to me that I wouldn't want to get. Or wouldn't be afraid to deal with.
I can imagine something.
I'd be happy to do it. It's roy.taylor@amd.com. And I do like to do that. It doesn't always make me the most popular person inside AMD, but I think it's important. I really do think it's important. And I want anybody listening or watching the podcast to know that we care very, very deeply, and we're making huge improvements in them. So whoever that was that wrote in, hey, I just gave you my email address. If he wants to write to me, I'll be happy to follow up with him.
roy.taylor@amd.com.
That's correct.
All right.
Gotcha. You called the wrath upon yourself, man. I'm just saying.
That's okay. I'm ready. Bring it on.
Richard Suros asks, on behalf of Darth Beavis, this is for Origin, when will we see the next big O? And he also asks, he goes, I assume Kevin will be there, and he is. Why do they not ship their systems with Crisco and duct tape? I think that's an inside question, an inside joke.
Yeah, huge inside joke.
Okay.
He's an old school contact, our friend.
I figured as much.
From the Alienware days. There was actually some forum post that he was a fan of Cisco and duct tape or something, and my partner Richard was in charge of manufacturing at Alienware at the time. Mm-hmm. And he said, when this customer's computer ships, you have to ship it with Crisco and duct tape in the box. And we did it, and it completely blew his mind. He's like, well, how did you know that I love these things? Because it was on a forum. And he actually helped us design and he helped us build the Big O, which we released 4 years ago. So the Big O hasn't made a comeback yet. That's our liquid-cooled CPU, our liquid-cooled PC and liquid-cooled console in one that we did 4 years ago. It was really well, really popular. Got a lot of publicity, and it was a fantastic, exciting product. But we haven't done it with the next-gen consoles yet, just because it's a difficult thing to take apart a next-gen console and figure out how to liquid cool it, and it takes some time and effort and resources. So if there's a lot more people out there like Darth Beavis, Richard Suros, who contact us and say we really want a Big O, then we'll put some more time and effort into it.
Gotcha. And I know you guys have to go pretty soon, so we got one last reader question. Ryan Hoffman asks, this is a question for AMD. Do you guys have any plans to start measuring PCs based on performance per watt?
Well, of course. I mean, if you look at what we're doing, we just produced a 95-watt FX, and we just produced 45-watt Kaveri parts. So we take it very seriously. The notebook business is enormously important to us, and we're very successful in it. And we couldn't be successful in it unless we took great care and attention to that. And in addition to notebooks on the processor side, we have a very, very successful professional graphics business. And we couldn't be successful in that business unless we had world-class acoustics and thermals. So yeah, we pay very close attention to this area.
Cool. Tom, do you have any more questions?
I think it's about it.
Cool.
Now, hang on, Jimmy, before you go. Now, you mentioned your friend who asked you about video editing.
Were you fixated on that the whole entire time?
Yes. So I want to challenge you with a Jimmy friend test. So if we give your friend an FX-like processor, motherboard, in fact, we're giving them everything. SSD, memory, motherboard, processor. Can your friend test it, and can he give you feedback on how good it was for video editing? And will you publish the result?
So, I mean, I hate to break it to you, but he actually he purchased it already. So that would require some work for him to do.
Well, how about we give him an entire Origin PC based on FX8?
Yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't mind. I'd have to ask him, to see if he's willing to do the extra work. But
What extra work is he doing?
Yeah, I just say it's a
Getting
free
your free
PC. Come on, man.
Can you elaborate?
I'll run it by him, and if we do indeed run a story on this, then we'll post something.
All right.
Cool.
Okay.
Is there anything else you guys want to say to our readers or anything like that?
Thank you for this chance to come and talk to you. And please remember, friends don't friends by GeForce.
Or Intel, apparently.
without checking Radeon.
All right.
Awesome.
We actually had something really interesting happen on Friday. One of our overclockers in Finland.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
The Stilt. He was using an 8370, and he managed to achieve 8.723 gigahertz, which is a new world record, and then he used LN2 for that. So we're really excited about that. That made going into AMD 30 Live this weekend. That definitely pumped us up.
Pretty cool.
Was that the guy looking for a job at Origin PC? Because we could hire that guy.
That's
I
the
bet he
Stilt
does some
in
things.
Finland. So.
Yeah. We should get an extreme overclocker in the podcast and have him bring in liquid helium and all that stuff in here one day.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I would. Now, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the chance to come along.
Thank you guys.
Yes,
and
thanks for having us
thank you, Kevin,
on.
for being a customer again.
Awesome.
Yeah,
thanks for reaching out to us.
Thank you for coming on, guys.
Yeah.
And getting awkward with us. So, anyways, that about wraps it up. Check us online at www.maximumpc.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can email us at maximumpcpodcast@gmail.com. You can send us a message at our 24-hour No BS podcast hotline at 1-877-404-1337, extension 1337. You can subscribe to us on Google Play, iTunes, Kindle, Nook, and Zinio. And so thank you for listening, guys.